Morning Show with Blaze Tambori.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Pitch Blitz Morning Show. Cristiano Ronaldo makes a genuine apology after his embarrassment on the pitch. Erik ten Hag's reaction. Several big-name players from Europe's best have been told that they cannot participate in this year's World Cup due to injury. Xavi also announced that his managerial career at Barcelona is in danger following the 3-1 loss to Real Madrid in El Clasico. Everything you need to know and more coming up next. Stay tuned. Well, unless you live underneath a rock, you saw what happened this week in the Premier League in the game against Manchester United versus Tottenham Hotspur. On Wednesday, in about the 89th, 88th minute, Erik ten Hag's Manchester United was winning against Tottenham Hotspur 2-0 at the moment. And Erik ten Hag asked the best player in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo, if he wanted to come in. Cristiano Ronaldo said no. As we know, Cristiano Ronaldo has recently had a tough time at Manchester United fitting in to the Erik ten Hag system. He came in when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was there. You know, everything seemed that it was going to work out for the two of them. As we see now, it's kind of the complete opposite. So if you weren't watching the game, Manchester United was kind of bossing the game from kickoff, and this was, if you're a Manchester United supporter, this was exactly what you wanted to see. But if you're a Cristiano Ronaldo supporter, this was the complete opposite of what you wanted to see. Cristiano Ronaldo is the type of person that kids have always looked up to, whether these kids played football, whether these kids played baseball. It was always that athlete that other younger athletes could look up to. He was a sports idol. It was a little bit different if you played soccer and you looked up to Cristiano Ronaldo. You wanted to be like him. You wanted to run like him. You wanted to train like him. If he got to the training ground 45 minutes early, then that's when you got to the training ground. If he talked to his coach after the game, you talked to your coach after the game. It was kind of like this. It was a little bit of like a. I'm trying to think of the words, but you wanted to be Cristiano Ronaldo, right? Ever since Cristiano Ronaldo left Real Madrid, things have just slowly been on a decline. And as soon as he joined Manchester United, it rapidly went downhill. Cristiano Ronaldo thought that he could come back to England and boss it up. Win the Golden Boot, win the Ballon d'Or, and once Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked by the Glazers, Ronaldo's future at Manchester United was in doubt. And Cristiano Ronaldo said that he didn't want to play for them anymore, said that he wanted to play Champions League football, and United wasn't in the Champions League, so he wanted out, blah, 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 blah. A little crybaby-ish for me, and I wasn't a fan of it. And I played soccer when I was younger, and I looked up to Cristiano Ronaldo, as did all of my friends, as did millions of other people that I know, or not millions of other people that I know, but so it was always, let me watch Cristiano Ronaldo's highlights. Well, if you're a kid now, or if you're a parent and your kid wants to watch Ronaldo's highlights, you almost don't want to let him watch his highlights. Number one, he's on the bench 75% of the time. Number two, he's missing every shot that he takes. He can't connect a single pass. Every time he dribbles, he gets the ball taken from him. And then when his team is winning 2-0, his team is winning. It's not like they were losing and he was pissed off that Erik ten Hag's plans weren't working as to how Ronaldo wanted them to. They were winning. They were beating the third place team in the league in Tottenham Hotspur. Erik ten Hag asked Cristiano if he wants to come on, and he refused. He said, no, I'm not coming on, and left the pitch. Walked off. The final whistle didn't even blow, and he walked off the pitch. The picture of him walking into the tunnel, and on the scoreboard, you could still see about 5 minutes remaining. The embarrassment that holds, not only for Cristiano, but for the club, for the entire organization, from the coaching staff to the owners to the stadium workers to his fans to his family. That's just embarrassing. Walking off the field, that's childish. That is baby-like. That's something that I would expect his kids to do, let alone him, who is regarded as the best football player in the world. Is this really how you want to leave your legacy behind? Cristiano then went on to Instagram and posted 3 long paragraphs, including a picture of himself. And basically he said, throughout my career, I try to live and play respectfully towards my colleagues, my adversaries, and my coaches. That hasn't changed, blah, 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 blah. In the second paragraph, he goes on to talk about the mentorship. I started very young. The older and most experienced players' examples were always very important to me. Therefore, later on, I've always tried to set the example myself for the youngsters that grew in all the teams that I've represented. Unfortunately, that's not always possible, and sometimes the heat of the moment gets the best of us. The heat of the moment, I wish I could say something. This isn't heat of the moment, Cristiano. This has been building up, and you know it. You had enough of Erik ten Hag's garbage. You weren't a fan of how he was managing the club. You weren't a fan that you were on the bench for the last 4 games. And it all built up. Just come out and say that. Look, I was really pissed off about it, that I haven't been playing at all. I've been working hard in the training ground, so on and so forth. But he can't. Instead, he walks off the pitch before the game's even over. So, Erik ten Hag, immediately after the game, said that Cristiano Ronaldo is not playing in the game against Chelsea. He's not even going to be on the bench. He's not even going to be a reserve. He will not be in the stadium. Erik ten Hag said this is most definitely considered a punishment. This is considered nothing else. Cristiano Ronaldo is aware of it. Cristiano Ronaldo will be training by himself for the next few days. It'll just be himself and 3 Manchester United coaches simply just training on their own. This is, I only want to take a few more minutes in this topic, but forget what I said about mentoring or being an idol for the young players who want to make it big in this sport. But what about the players on Manchester United who play with him, who learn from him, who look towards him to say what he did in the early 2000s, that's what I want to do for this club. And that's just the complete opposite of what you see right now. I feel for all the players on this field. I think it hits home to the homegrown players. No pun intended. Jadon Sancho isn't necessarily a homegrown player. He was a London guy. But, Jadon Sancho is still young. And he wants to look up to Cristiano Ronaldo, and he can't now. Anthony Elanga, he can't. Marcus Rashford, he can't. Scholatire, he can't. So I think Cristiano Ronaldo needs to do a little bit more thinking than just an apology on Instagram. This didn't cut it for me. I think if Cristiano truly wants to gain back the love and support from the fans, he needs to do something different, and it needs to be, whether it's creating an event of some sort that benefits, I don't know, youth in football or something along those lines. Maybe it's just anger management classes, which I think he would do great at, and I think that's what he needs. But once again, I feel for him. I understand why he's so upset. All I'm saying is he should have just done it in a different way, and it's truly just an embarrassment to watch a Manchester United game, hands down the best club in English history, if not European history, and seeing the guy who's regarded as the best player of all time walking off the pitch before the final whistle blows. So heading into our second segment of today's podcast, we look forward to the World Cup. Exactly 4 weeks from today, we have Qatar 2022 heading off. thank the Lord. It is about time. Did not think that 4 years would fly by this fast, but here we are. This World Cup is going to be a little bit different because there's really no outright winner right now. In 2018, you could have said France, you could have said Belgium, you could have said Germany, but a lot of those guys failed to live up to the hype and the expectations. And this year, when you look at the teams, in the different groups, who knows what's going to happen? All of the favorites that have been talked about for the last 5 months, a lot of the speculation and rumors have kind of went negative towards a lot of those countries. And those negative rumors are in large part to the injuries that those clubs currently face, and will continue to face. First and foremost, I'm going to go to Argentina. Argentina is third favorite to win the World Cup this year. However, two of their starting forwards up top, Paulo Dybala and Ángel Di María, are both under a little bit of injury worry at the moment for both their Italian clubs and the Argentina national team. Paulo Dybala has a hamstring injury that requires about approximately 4 weeks recovery process. The World Cup starts in exactly 4 weeks. Jose Mourinho said that the injury doesn't look bad, but it's not looking good. Those were his exact words. And he said it's looking more towards worse than it is not that bad. I swear, verbatim, those were the words that he used in the interview. And next we have Ángel Di María, also the Argentinian man from Juventus. He has a little hamstring injury. He has a lesion on his right thigh. The doctor gave him a 20-day recovery process. A 20-day recovery timeline. So he should be good for the World Cup. But still, that's a worry. Last week, Lionel Messi came out and said that he's worried if Ángel Di María and Paulo Dybala are both out, then where's his where are his wingers? So big question there for Argentina. How big of a factor does that play for Argentina's odds in the World Cup this year? Who knows? Let's head over to Netherlands right now. Jorginho Wijnaldum, he has a fractured tibia. There's no doubt that he's going to miss the World Cup this year. He has a 5-month expectancy. Kyle Walker and Reece James and potentially Trent Alexander-Arnold are all out for the World Cup. Kyle Walker from Manchester City, he has a groin injury. The recovery process is about 2 to 3 weeks for him. However, Gareth Southgate has come out to the press and said that he wants to take a gamble on Kyle Walker, and he will add him to the World Cup provisional squad for England this year. Big news, because Pep Guardiola did not want to play him at the weekend following the Manchester City win over United. But Gareth Southgate has a little bit of a different idea on it. So Kyle Walker will be on the World Cup squad for World Cup for England this year, despite his injuries. Reece James, also on England, he has a knee injury. There's a very good chance he will be out. His recovery time is 2 months. However, he said he will do anything he can to get on the pitch. Man, you and me both. Trent Alexander-Arnold picked up a little knock last week. It was an ankle injury. His injury expectancy was 6 weeks. He played in the next game, so I think he's okay. However, just 2 weeks ago, there was a lot of talk about who Southgate is going to put in his right back position. He had Kyle Walker, Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He had a lot of options in that right back area. Now he really only has one, maybe two. So it kind of helps out Gareth Southgate by also hurting him. Next, we head over to France. Paul Pogba. He's always hurt. I really wrote in my notes everything because he's hurt by really everything. I can't remember the last time I saw 3 consecutive games played by Paul Pogba. His injury time, who knows? He still has yet to play for the side that he signed with in the summer in Juventus. So who knows about him? It's currently unlikely that we will see him on the World Cup for France. However, the biggest news and also the saddest news for one of the happiest soccer players that anyone has ever watched play the game, N'Golo Kante, the center midfielder for his club, Chelsea, and his nationality, France, he will not play in the World Cup following a hamstring surgery that took place last week. His return date is in 4 months, so there's no shot that he makes it. Prayers and best wishes for him. Truly thinking about him now, as is the entire world of football, because that's a true knock for not only N'Golo Kante, but France and France's supporters, because a guy like that, no one wants to see get hurt. Next, we head to Portugal. Diogo Jota, their starting striker, is out of the World Cup following a injury to his calf at the weekend against Manchester City. His recovery time is 6 to 8 weeks. Diogo Jota will not be playing for Portugal in the World Cup this year. So real quick, going back down the line, Paulo Dybala is out for Argentina. Jorginho Wijnaldum is out for Netherlands. Kyle Walker is out for England. Reece James is out for England. Angel Di Maria out for Argentina. Paul Pogba out for France. N'Golo Kante out for France. Diogo Jota out for Portugal. Heading into our third and final segment of today's podcast, we head over to La Liga in Barcelona. A lot of worry for the coach in Xavi, one of the greatest Barcelona players to ever play the game. He's come out after the El Clasico game in which his side lost 3-1 and said that his current position as manager of Barcelona is currently in turmoil. Following their loss, Barcelona sits second in La Liga beneath Real Madrid. The game at the weekend could have seen Barcelona go top of the table. Unfortunately, it was the complete opposite. They lost. They currently sit in second. But however, I think the biggest talking point for Barcelona and Xavi right now heads over to the Champions League in Group C, where they find themselves in the group of death. And I said this early on, Barcelona was going to have an uphill battle. I predicted them to get out of this. I predicted them in the second place spot below Bayern Munich, but unfortunately that's not how it's looking like it's going to turn out unless there's a miracle. Currently in first place is Bayern Munich, second is Inter Milan, third is Barcelona. Victoria Plzen sits in fourth. Bayern has 12 points, Inter has 7, Barcelona has 4, Victoria Plzen has 0. Barcelona's next game is against Bayern Munich. Inter Milan's next game is against Victoria Plzen. The only way Barcelona get out of this group, and this is going to take all of the magic in the world, is if Barcelona beat Bayern Munich, which is going to take a miracle in and of itself, and Victoria Plzen need to beat Inter Milan. That is the only way Barcelona goes through. Let me repeat that. Barcelona, the only way that they go through is if they beat the best team in the world right now in Bayern Munich, and Inter Milan lose to Victoria Plzen. A draw for Inter will see Inter through. Barcelona is out. In order for Barcelona to stay in the Champions League, they need to win. But everything after that, it's out of their hands. And that's the scariest part about Xavi's career right now, is it's all up to Victoria Plzen's destiny, fate, whatever you want to call it. I'll be honest, it'll be really unfortunate if this is how we see Xavi leave, because everyone wants to see former players come back to their clubs and do really well. Zinedine Zidane is a perfect example. If I was a Real Madrid supporter, that is awesome. I would support the living hell out of that. But unfortunately with Xavi, it's just not the same. So Barcelona needs a little bit of rethinking from the top office. Joan Laporta, you can't go into a referee's dressing room after the game and wanting to throw hands. That's just not how the game works. That's not how you get respected. That's not how that you know what that does? If you walk into the referee's dressing room after the game and complaining that the calls didn't go your way, then shame on you. Because when you let it get to that point, when you let the refs decide the game, and this is my opinion, that's on you. Because in my opinion, if you are going to win the game, if you truly believe that you have a better talent on your squad than Inter Milan did, and that was a great game, by the way, ended in a 3-3 draw, then you would have put more goals, you would have put more balls in the back of the net than Inter Milan did, but you didn't. So instead, now you're relying on the referees to make better decisions. And were there penalties that weren't given? Yes. Were there penalties that were given? Yes. Was there handballs given? Yes, obviously, but that's the game, okay? You're going to get those every single game. I bet you 50% of the games that Barcelona has won in their history, there has been controversial calls. Okay, just because this one didn't go your way and Barcelona drew to Inter Milan that now sees them facing a Champions League exit, now don't get all upset. You should have built this team so that it didn't have to rely on a person who doesn't even play on the team to win the game for you. I really can't blame Xavi here because Xavi has done, in my opinion, a very good job with this club. It was just kind of destiny. As soon as Ronald Koeman left, whoever took over this position, it's similar to Manchester United and Erik ten Hag. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer left Manchester United, they threw Erik ten Hag in a pack of wolves, and he was raw meat. And it's the same thing with Xavi, but Xavi's cooked meat because Xavi's got more experience. So I think right now Xavi just has to focus on La Liga. If they do end up losing in the Champions League and they find themselves playing in the Europa League, what are you going to do? It's another season. Tell yourself and tell your squad, look, we messed up, okay? We didn't take our chances. We had so many missed opportunities. But this year, let's wipe it off the slate. All right? Let's wipe it off the slate, and instead, let's make sure that we remember how we feel now, and let's finish in the top 3 this year in La Liga so that we can better ourselves next year. And when we play Real Madrid in the spring, you better know that we're going balls to the wall and we're winning that game. Man, I feel like I should be a coach. Well, that's how I feel on Barcelona. Barcelona, I think I really don't think there's any doubt that they're going to finish in the top 3 in La Liga, but I do think that they're going to miss out on the round of 16 for the Champions League, and that's kind of not the biggest surprise if you looked at the squad at the end of the season last year. If I told you this happened to them, you'd probably believe me. Next up, on Saturday, they face Athletic Club in La Liga, and then on October 26th, that will be when their fate is decided. That will be the game when they play Bayern Munich and Inter Milan play Victoria Plzen. Stay tuned for that one. That's going to be an enticing game. I'm sure that Xavi is going to come out guns a-blazing, but I also feel that Bayern Munich and the squad that they have there will be relentless, and those are rivals, those two teams. So I don't think Bayern Munich's going to go easy on them. I think Bayern Munich, even though they already made it through, I think Bayern Munich is going to put a beating on them. They're going to play their starting 11 like they usually and always do. And I think Barcelona is going to lose that game, and I think Inter Milan is going to beat Victoria Plzen, and Barcelona miss out on Champions League football this year. But hey, there's always next year.